To mix the second ink, what we're going to do is we're going to have one part of the matte fluid medium. We're going to have 2 parts of the sepia ink. I'm just going to pour from the bottle here. There's 1 part. There's 2 parts. And we're going to have 1 part of the slow dry. Here we go. And that's it. That is our second wash. Let's clean this little thing off of here. And then we'll just take and mix this up. And this will mix up really easily because you're only mixing ink wash in with these other things. Okay, we're ready to put our second wash on the brick. Now I've got my test pieces here, and I've got my second wash. I've also got a brush here that's kind of a smaller brush. It's probably 3/4 inches wide, and I want it so I can sort of get into the corner and mop up the drips. For this, I'm also going to need some baby wipes. These are flushable, you know, like baby wipes, and they're kind of pre-moistened. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe off the excess of this ink wash, kind of like a stain, and we'll see how it goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this method on some of these little brick sections I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my brush in the wash here, and I'm going to go ahead and brush over this, and you can see that this is actually quite dark. So I'm going to go ahead and brush over the brick. And then I've also got this little cap here, and then what you can do is you can kind of scrape off the excess off the brush and wipe up any drips. Now this looks really dark, which is kind of too dark for brick, but you know, I want that actually. This is actually kind of a good dark brick. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the baby wipe, and it's just moist enough to sort of, if I lightly go over it, I can lightly take a little bit of the wash off on the center part of the brick, kind of like that. Now if you wipe a lot, you can actually take a lot off and really reveal some of the red brick that's under there. Okay, so you kind of get an idea how this works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and dip this thing in here, and I'm going to start on the brick wall at the top, and I'm going to work my way down because I don't want it to set on the bottom too long. But let's go ahead and get it around the arches. I'm really glad this is working. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go over on the stone here. I'm thinking I'll be able to wipe the excess off of the stone, because you see I've got this dark line around the stone that I hope will go off of there. I think it will. I'm pretty sure it will, but like I said, I've never done this before, so I am hoping this will work. But I think it will. Oh, what the heck, let's go ahead and get the back. I don't know what I'm doing anyway, so we'll just see. We'll see how well. I'm thinking this slow dry material will keep the ink from drying, so we'll have time to go ahead and wipe this up like we want. Okay, there we go. We've got everything covered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape off the brush, get the excess off of it, and I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to mop up drips. Like around the top of the arch, it looks like it's really, really steep. Around the top of this arch, you know, gravity of course takes it down to the bottom. And we'll wipe off this one right here. And I think we've got most of this mopped up. Okay. Alrighty, so it's baby wipe time. So we're going to grab a baby wipe here. And I'm going to start with the floor because I want the floor to blend in nicely. So if I wipe this, I'm hoping it will wipe off the floor pretty well. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like it's wiping off the floor pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe this around here. And that'll kind of blend that into the floor. And what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of go over the major surfaces, like, you know, the front of that. These buttresses, I'm going to go ahead and wipe them, kind of like that. And notice I'm flipping this over and using a new side of it once it gets dirty. I'm going to go across the tops of the arches here, and just going to kind of go up the sides. And then as far as the main part back here, I'm trying to get this wrapped around my finger right. I'm just going to kind of hit the center, and I'm going to hit the center here, and then I'm going to kind of wipe up the sides. And then the really tight places are kind of hard to get. So it looks like, you know, it looks like this is starting to kind of do what I was hoping it would do. It gives a bit of darkness to the brick, a bit of richness to it, and it's also defining the difference between the light and the dark area. It's kind of like antiquing. It reminds you of like old antique brass or something like that. It's kind of a hard way to say it. Now, you notice on the back here, it looks like it dripped a bit. Let's see if that'll be a problem. Can I wipe that up? Oh, look at that. Look at that. See how that wiped right off of there? So I'm going to do this. So I'm wiping. I'm not going really hard with this. I just want to kind of go around the brick just a little bit. And when you wipe it up, that color of that red, you know, really shows through that. So I'm just going to hit the center of here, and I'm going to get the center of here, and I'm thinking that's probably enough to do it. Now I've got some puddles right down here. They're kind of bothering me, so I'm going to scrape off my brush, and I think I'm going to soak those puddles up. And I got a puddle here, and that's what was dripping down, is because I had puddles on the side there. So I think that will work actually pretty darn nicely. Okay, there's our back. And the only thing I have left, I've got the sides. See, I've left the side here for a while. I haven't really hit it yet. Let's see if it's not too late. If I go up the side, looks like I can hit it. And this side right here, that'll work. Now, as far as the top, I'm just going to kind of go on each edges of the brick on the top, and the filling, that dirt filling, or that, I don't know what you call it, gravel, dirt, whatever that's filling between the bricks, I'm going to try to leave that. And I'm just going to try to wipe this off on the bricks like right here. So I'm going to wipe that there. Now when you're doing a big dungeon section like a room, I would not do all the walls at one time. Even though it's got slow dry in it, this stuff is time sensitive. So if you wait longer than 3 minutes or so, you might have difficulty wiping this stuff off. So I would go ahead and do the inside of a wall, and I would start by wiping the floor. Get this excess, blend the floor in, make sure that you don't have a harsh brush line around the floor, and then go ahead and do the walls. That side of, go ahead and do the corner, and you won't be able to reach the very inside of the corner, which is good because you want there to be a little dark there. And I will go like around the window and go ahead and do that. There we go. So we've got that wall pretty much done on the inside. So if it dries on the inside right there, I'm not going to worry about it. So then go ahead and start on the top. It looks like I went ahead and hit the top. So I'm just going to hit the top edge of bricks, just so this brick outline, you see how I'm getting that outline to happen around the edges of the bricks. So on that one, hit both sides and hit the tops of these bricks so that the dirt fill-in actually looks like a dirt fill-in. Just that kind of gets those open. And then go ahead and work all the way down that way, and try not to hit the insides of them. And with that, go ahead and then continue. At least you don't have to worry about the inside of this wall again. Now there may occasionally be drips through that hole in the window from working on the other side, but periodically check it. And then go ahead and get onto the back side, and then we'll continue. Or you could continue the inside wall. Personally, I would do the back of this wall. And hopefully this part right here on the inside won't have dried yet before you get back to it. Okay, here's the final view of the dungeon after it's painted. When we first glued the red brick walls onto the floor, you kind of wondered if the two colors were going to work. But after we put the final wash on, you can see that the color of the final wash kind of blends the floor into the wall really well. I like this method for a number of reasons. First of all, it's easier to get good results than it is for dry brushing. I've kind of designed this so that people with average skills can get above average results when they get done, as long as they mix the parts of the paints and the inks correctly. With dry brushing, you can't really get the brick texture to come out very well, because once you get the brick texture dry brushed right, any parts that stick out like buttresses or arches get over frosted with the dry brushing.